What's up, guys? You know who it is, your boy JS7, and I'm joined with my co-host, Mr. Clinton Fowler, aka King of the Calculator. We're here for round number 2, going to Hangtown. Just last weekend, we saw what happened to Paula. We saw the return of Jett Lawrence. We saw Chase Sexton go out, and we saw almost beast mode come back, and then of course Hunter Lawrence and the rest of the field. So it was a great weekend of racing. Here it's going to be hot this weekend in Hangtown. But before we move on to there, you got to figure out what you would have won. So Clinton, tell the people what they would have won from last weekend at Paula.
Hey James, Jett Lawrence went out and did what he's done 7 times before. He got his 8th victory. He's undefeated there. A $20 bet would have gotten you just under $27. The odds makers, they kind of knew what they were doing there. On the podium side of things, you got Jett Lawrence. They really knew he was going to be on the podium. They had minus 2,500 odds, which is basically going to pay out $1 above the $20 bet. So not exactly the best bet, though a guaranteed lock to some degree. But really the one that sticks out for me on the podium odds last week, Hunter Lawrence was a plus 120. That would have paid out $44 for you. So not bad. But James, I mean, the thing we got to see was Jett versus Eli. We got it. It was the first time we saw these guys outdoors, and that second moto delivered.
Yeah, that second motor definitely delivered, and of course, Vegas Saints, they ain't dumb. That's how they keep the lights on. They knew what Jett Lawrence was gonna do. They probably knew a bit more than I did. I felt like with him, obviously it's Jett Lawrence. Dude knows how to ride. Sometimes this is where analytics actually works for you. They looked at the numbers and they saw it. But yeah, Eli Tomac was back. It was good to see. We heard him coming in. He was very confident, practice. I saw it from the press day. Dude went out first. He went out first in practice. You just slinging it, winging it, whatever you want to call. But Beast Mode was back. So it was good to see him back out there. He did struggle a little bit, and actually talking to Jett a little bit, he struggled as well. So, coming to the first race, both those guys had nerves into it, but Eli definitely looked the most relaxed out of all the guys, and I think he'll only get better. We know this is one of his better tracks coming in Hangtown. This is one race that he beat the field by 2 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that. So we know he knows how to ride this one, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens this weekend. Jett Lawrence should be better. Hunter Lawrence was on the podium, as you said. AP was right there as well. Unfortunately, we lost the defending champion, Chase Sexton, for a couple weeks. That's a bummer, but at the end of the day, I think Beast Mode and the rest of the guys, they'll have to pick up the slack.
Hangtown event odds, shocking, especially with Sexton being out here. It looks like we got a 2-horse race. Jett Lawrence minus 206. That's going to pay out $29 on a $20 bet. Eli Tomac coming in at a plus 232. So that would pay out $66 on a $20 bet. They clearly had these two guys, not surprising. To your point, Hangtown, this is where we might have seen the most epic beast mode in the history of beast mode for Eli Tomac. In 2015, he beat the field by 1.5 minutes. His fastest lap was a full 5 seconds better than Ryan Dungey's fastest lap. He averaged 6 seconds a lap time. It was just one of those days. It's enough where Jett Lawrence remembered that day, James. I mean, that's incredible.
I mean, the kid's smart. I mean, he's a student of the game. I remember watching that and be like, is that Lee? Wait, the clock must be messed up. They must got some timing issues. And that's the year I didn't race. So I was like, man, I'm glad I'm home right now, because Beast Mode would have whoop on them JS7 up on that. But yeah, that was an epic performance. And when you look at what happened last weekend, I think partly why Eli struggled was, one, he hasn't raced motocross in a series that's meaningful for a few years. And then, statistically, Paul is not his best racetrack, where on the other hand, Jett Lawrence, that is his best racetrack. So when you put them both together, the fact that Eli was that close, and his issues kind of came from, I would say, a little bit of bike setup, a little bit of, I think he was feeling too froggy, meaning he was too excited to be there because he kept really running in deep in the corners, and with his bike rebounding as much as was, he was losing so much time. And since that was the first time he raced against Jett, Jett's the type of person that it's if you're not disciplined, and I think this is where the rest of the guys and where I actually admire this guy, he rides so efficiently, and he stands up a lot of places, so it almost looks like it's slow. It's easy to get sucked into that. And what I mean by that, when and he's up in front of you, standing up, he's cruising. As a racer, you're like, ah, you know, I just want to run in there. And I think Eli kind of got sucked into that, which he was running into berms, and he would just lose that much time. So he's going to learn after watching the video what he did. Clearly the speed's there, but I also think he's going to learn how to race Jett and try not to get sucked in to that game almost, I would say, that Jett Lawrence is so efficient happens. So nonetheless, I'm looking at those odds and I'm thinking that's a pretty good bet if you're asking me to put on Eli. You know, again, if you $20, you say 66, so you can win some money, 44. Again, my math's off a little bit, but it just seems like, you know, with Vegas, let's make Vegas lose some money this weekend. I'm feeling a little beast mode action.
Hey, we're going to Hangtown, right? Last year, Jett had that brutal crash coming down the hill. That resulted in the only time he's lost in a 450 series. Like in 17 starts, one time he didn't take the overall, and that's at Hangtown. Do you think that'll hang over Jett, or do you think that gives Eli any extra advantage?
No. I mean, I think with Jett, if you were going to try to get him, it would have been last weekend at Paula. You know, not to say that, I mean, he can go there and just get beat. I mean, Eli was there. I think, you know, both these guys are going to get stronger. And I said on the post-race show that it's not like they're going to get faster. They'll just be more efficient at doing things that they do well. And Hangtown's a different track. You know, it's a lot different than Paula. So some of the issues that maybe Eli was struggling with, those G outs coming out of the berms, as you mentioned, he was really losing that time exiting mid part of the corner, and won't necessarily be the factor this weekend. I think if the sole gets a little bit harder, his faster rebound actually might help him because it'd actually get the bike back on the ground, have more traction. Where last weekend it was really the L shape. You know, once that bike would rebound out of him, his feet would come off, and then of course, you know how he is. He's like, you know, I'm surprised at Yamaha. It didn't look like Cooper Webb's bike, that first moto. But again, Eli, that's from not racing. That's from not racing Jett Lawrence. That's from being super excited. And you got to remember, both those guys are off. So I think when you're coming back from an injury, it's easier to get into the race flow if you're out like Jett Lawrence, because what happens as a racer when you've been out, everything starts happening really fast. So if you're just naturally calm on the motorcycle like Jett is, you're going to have an easier time to get back into the race, because, you know, the one thing you don't want to do is override the track, and Jett doesn't do that. When you're like Eli Tomac and you beast mode, if you start overriding the track, it looks very exciting if you ask me. So I think the Hangtown, the racetrack, is going to be different. Plus Eli has a lot of vibes. And if you want to say Jett Lawrence, where the world crashed in last year, maybe that would have a little bit of impact. I just personally don't. One, because Chase Sexton's out. We saw what he did that second moto. So I think Jett's going to continue in. And like I said in the beginning, if anybody was going to get him with all the outside noise, all the unknowns, it would have been at Paula. I think Jett be more relaxed. So he's going to be hard to beat here at Hangtown.
Yeah, it makes sense. Last week we started our host battle, and you chose Justin Cooper, and I had Aaron Plessinger. We didn't have the official head-to-head odds, so we did ad hoc and just chose who was going to take it.
So it didn't count.
It didn't count. I think I'm up 1-0, James. I think I'm up. I really appreciate that last pass by Plessinger for third. That gave me the point this week.
Hey, don't think like I was on the broadcast and I'm like, oh snap. I was thinking about it as it was happening when they went back to that replay and they showed Aaron Plessinger, and I was like, damn, Aaron, you know, you're my boy, but man, I can't think of the calculator, this guy. But I'm like, it's a 2-moto format, man. Like, I got him the first moto. I don't know what the hell Justin Cooper was doing the second moto. I thought he was coming up, but yeah, you did get me unofficially. Like one of those off-season races. That's what we're gonna say. But this weekend,
if I go 1-10 this year, James, all I know is I won the open round against JS7. Yeah. But dude, both of those guys pretty impressive performances, right? Justin Cooper gets a second in that first moto. That's a career best for him. Plessinger, I saw him post and he said his confidence is there. He wasn't necessarily confident going in, but 5.3 is pretty consistent and up there. He chose not to go with the scoop tire in that first race, so, you know, obviously hindered him on the start, so maybe he would have been up there. But both those guys really, pretty darn good weekends, James.
Yeah, both of them, and to scoop or not, I don't really think anything's going to help them get in front of those Hondas. Do you see those guys pulling whole shots? I mean, it's crazy. And if you look at the race, I know we're getting technical. Don't worry, Rewind people. I'm thinking about you, but I'm gonna break this part down. If you look at the race, that second moto, Jett Lawrence was like sitting on the gate. He almost have, my boy Chase Sexton kind of start. Like they dropped the gate, he was still there, and he was still able to come out of there. Hunter Lawrence got a good jump, he was gone. So it's gonna be hard to beat the Hondas off the gate, and they sit on there knowing that I'm gonna pull the whole shot. And unfortunately for the rest of them, if you ain't starting in front of them, it's going to be very hard to beat them. So nonetheless, that was beautiful. Justin Cooper rode great that first moto. I said, I had a good feeling. I was talking to Jason doing track walk. I'm like, man, it's Justin Cooper kind of day because of the way the track is. Now you go to Hangtown. Last time he was here, well, he was here last year, but I remember a couple years ago with Hayden Deegan telling me I just wanted to break him. He ain't got to race that dude. So Justin should have some confidence going in. And of course with Aaron Plessinger, it's going to help him out. He's the solo KTM in the 450 class. So I think this would be good. You can never cut out the Cowboy. So, all right, Clinton, before we go to head and you all confidence because you're undefeated, let's just do a recap on the event odds for this weekend, starting at the top with Jett Lawrence.
Yeah, so event odds, Hangtown. We got Jett Lawrence as the favorite, minus 206. We got Eli Tomac as the next, plus 232. And then rounding out top 5, they've got Hunter Lawrence at a plus 600. And then a big jump. Justin Cooper, plus 6,800. And Aaron Plessinger, plus 7,700. So they clearly, as we talked about before, there's a big 2-horse race. They expect either Jett or Eli really to be in there. Hunter is a bit of a long shot, and then everybody else pretty far after that. All right, James, let's talk head-to-head. We've got 4 different head-to-heads that we're seeing pre-event. You got Hunter Lawrence versus Justin Cooper. They're favoring Hunter Lawrence with a 393, a minus 393. Justin Cooper at a plus 266. Not surprising, they got Eli Tomac against Jett Lawrence. They're putting Jett Lawrence as a favorite there at a minus 260 and Eli at a plus 188. They got Plessinger versus his bud Cooper Webb, and they're taking Plessinger at a minus 182 and Coop at a plus 136. That one's pretty nice. And then Team Green, Jason Anderson versus Jorge Prado, and they are favoring Prado at a minus 140, Anderson at a plus 106. But James, I feel like for us, I want to put Justin Cooper back in the mix. I want to let's dive into Hunter Lawrence versus Justin Cooper.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna let you choose first because you won on an unofficial race last weekend, whatever. But I'm gonna let you choose. So you're going with who? You going with?
Man, I didn't want to go first. It's hard. I just want you to pick, and then I could back in. That was last week's was easy. I think Justin Cooper's going to come out with some starts this weekend. I think he's going to be on fire. So you lost with Justin Cooper this week. I'm hoping coming into this weekend I can win with him. Plus, I like the odds here, right? Like a plus 266 is going to pay me out $73. I love those odds. And man, he went 4-3 for 4th overall last year. In the 250s, this was his 3rd best venue. Justin Cooper's 3rd best venue. So for me, I think I'm going to go with Justin Cooper.
All right, well, that makes mine simple. I'm going with Hunter Lawrence. Let me tell you why. Because starts, I don't think it's going to matter this weekend. Why? Because it's going to be hot. They might have to change and lower it, lessen the race, what we did a few years ago in Paula. So because of that, I think the start's going to be somewhat neglected because the guys aren't going to be out there just going where Justin Cooper is really good. He gets a good start. He can put in those fast laps. I think he's going to be pacing himself. So because you chose Justin Cooper and because I don't have a choice but to choose Hunter Lawrence, I'm going to make a reason why I'm choosing Hunter Lawrence. And he was the guy I was going to choose anyway. So people, I'm going with Hunter Lawrence because the starts, we know how good the Hondas are. And I know how good Justin Cooper is off the start. But did you see what happened last weekend? Little brother on brother crime. They need to start breaking those bikes down. So Hunter Lawrence, because of heat, because that's not going to matter. The start's not going to matter as much this weekend. I'm going with him. So you're going to lose and I'm going to win.
James, I did forget the forecast, man. 100 to 105 degrees in Hangtown. That with a little bit of humidity. Oh, those are days where I'm happy to sit in the TV truck with some AC, buddy.
Yeah, and that's temperature. That's not like it feels like. It's going to feel like 140 up in there. Hangtown just kind of sitting on the side of a hill. It's already a desert out there anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be hot boys, a lot of them boys gonna be hanging off the side in that town. So I'll tell you that much. It's gonna be a great weekend, and of course, as you mentioned, the other head-to-heads, you got Eli Tomac versus Jett Lawrence and the rest of those guys out there. People are just gonna be hanging on to hang on. So yeah, Hunter Lawrence, do me right. You're gonna get a better start than Justin Cooper, even though it won't matter. And I'm gonna win for the official time this week. That's what's gonna happen.
We'll see about that. We'll see about that, buddy.
All right, people. Well, y'all heard it. Make sure y'all check everything. Make sure you come into the inside line. We're gonna continue doing this. Make sure you check up for the odds. I'm gonna go my best Clinton version. The odds will change just like everything else. Chase Sexton went out. That first photo changed everything. So look, you know what to do. Play safe, have fun. I'll see you guys this weekend on the broadcast, and I'll see you next weekend on the inside line. That's it, Clinton.